Now to an exclusive story for you. A Russian woman tells Fox News she thinks she was manipulated by outside forces in order to entrap Donald Trump advisor Michael Flynn. Fox chief intelligence correspondent Catherine Herridge reports exclusively for the show on this story.
I'm not a Russian spy, and I have never worked for the Russian government. I believe that General Flynn was targeted, and I was used to do that.
The allegations center on a 2014 seminar and dinner at England's University of Cambridge. At the time, General Mike Flynn ran military intelligence for President Obama. Mikova spoke to Fox News via Skype.
General Flynn was the guest of honor. I sat on the opposite side of the table to Flynn.
Were you alone with General Flynn before, during, or after the dinner?
I have never been alone with General Flynn.
According to a flyer, the Cambridge events were organized with the support of American Stefan Halper, who was later identified by media outlets as a professor who reportedly assisted the FBI's Russia probe. In December 2015, as a private citizen, Flynn was paid $45,000 to speak at a Russia Today event in Moscow, where he shared a table with President Vladimir Putin.
Did you ever discuss traveling to Moscow with General Flynn after the dinner?
There was absolutely no discussion of going to Moscow with General Flynn.
In February 2016, as Flynn's role in the Trump campaign became public, out of the blue, Mikova says she was invited to a private dinner with Halper.
It was very, very unusual to me. It was an obnoxious academic who absolutely hated all Russians.
During the 2016 campaign, Halper also contacted Trump campaign aides. Halper has refused requests for comment about his government work. In 2017, as Flynn was forced out as national security advisor over lying about contact with the Russian ambassador, Mikova says 3 American media outlets contacted her over a 4-day period, alleging suspicious contact with Flynn in 2014.
Was it a coincidence, or do you think it was coordinated?
I think there's a high chance that it was coordinated, and I believe it needs to be properly investigated.
Mikova says she is, quote, collateral damage in the Russia probe, and she is speaking out to clear her name and to get answers about American Stefan Halper, specifically whether she was used to target or smear General Flynn. Tucker.
Well, that's an amazing story. I think we need to know much more about Stefan Halper.
We'll stay on it.
I hope you will. Thank you. Catherine Herridge, as always.
The hypocrisy of Washington, D.C. on full display tonight as 17 House Democrats, Dems that once voted against releasing the Starr report back in 1998, announced they're all for releasing the Mueller report today. Amazing what a couple decades in a different political party in office will do, right? So these 17 Dems, there they are. We've done some research. All these Dems that are still serving today. In that list, we have a real cast of political characters. And we have Jerry Nadler, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters. All of them once felt very passionately against the release of a special prosecutor's report. But what do you know now? Now they are all for it, of course. What do you know? Politics, right? Now, on the one hand, I guess this is what's to be expected after 21 years and 10 elections. They know how to play the game. Politicians are politicians. But tonight, it's not just these politicians that are sharpening their knives. No, not just the politicians. You get the New York Times, perhaps, I don't know, embarrassed that its reporters were so vehemently on the side of the Democrats, on the side of Hillary Clinton. New York Times tonight insisting Mueller's team members think the AG went soft on Trump and that the information they provided is actually more damning than Barr concluded in his synopsis. And you got commentators on other networks, like MSNBC, trying to take that a step further, saying the report included evidence of collusion with the Russians. Where are they getting this stuff, right? Because Mueller did not conclude that. They may be concluding it. Mueller didn't. It's a theme that the Washington Post is peddling as well. You know, pardon me, last time I checked, Mueller didn't find collusion in the AG. Mr. Barr didn't consider the report a reason to bring collusion charges. So no collusion. And yet so-called lawmakers like Adam Schiff and so-called journalists like those in the mainstream media still want to believe the president is Manchurian candidate from Russia. Get over it, guys. You need to move on. The Democrats actually need to figure out sooner or later that if they keep digging in their heels here on this one, it's only going to make their own situation worse. And here's why. Someone Someone had to get the ball rolling on all of this. Think about it. Someone fed all that scandalous gossip on the initial so-called dirty dossier to the ex-British spy Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS. Steele was hired by Clinton's team to dig up dirt on Donald Trump. And then someone at Fusion GPS was feeding the info to the FBI, who then decided it made sense to illegally spy on Americans that happen to be working for a political campaign. I mean, this is messed up, right? It's all messed up. And the New York Times can try and save its story by insisting it has sources that expected more. I'm assuming Adam Schiff might have been in that group of sources. But what Mueller concluded actually meant no collusion charges. And the Attorney General of the United States didn't see any reason to bring any. My gosh, what more? What more do they need? What more do they want?
But in this country, we cannot criminalize political differences. Political differences. We do not abuse the law enforcement and intelligence power to target our political opponents. When they spy on me, who ever heard of this? They spied on me. They spied on our campaign. Who would think that's possible? The single greatest political hoax in the history of our country. And guess what? We won. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. We love to win. They tried to take something great away from people that came from all over. I always say they came from the valleys. They came from the mountains. They came out of the damn rivers. I don't know what you were doing in the river. But they came from the cities. They came, and they didn't even know these people existed. They're hardworking. They're successful. They're the smartest people. They're the toughest people. They're the most loyal people. They are. They're the smartest. Remember this about yourself. You know, I always hear the elite. The elite. Well, I always said, and I said it. I said it here my last night. I always say, they say the elite. They're the elite. I'm not. Well, I have a better education than them. I'm smarter than them. I went to the best schools. They didn't. Much more beautiful house. Much more beautiful apartment. Much more beautiful everything. And I'm president and they're not, right? And then they say, the elite, the elite. They're not elite. You're the elite. We're the elite. I get a kick, I hear, so-and-so, the elite. Then you see this guy like this little schlepper. This is elite. I'm not elite. This is elite. We're the elite. You're smarter. You're sharper. You're more loyal. You're a hell of a lot tougher. A hell of a lot tougher. So we can't have two different standards of justice in our country. One where the left-wing radical establishment can get away with anything they want. But you know, I have to tell you, I said it last night, we have some great, great friends in the media too. You look at Rush and Sean and Laura and Steve and Ainsley and Tucker and Janine. Janine is back. Janine is back. Going to be back on Saturday night. Janine, right? And even Greg likes me now. Greg. He started a little slow, but he likes Trump. Now, but we have a lot of great support. We really do. We have a lot of great support. Far more than you think. But where we really have the support are the voters that pull that handle or whatever the hell they're pulling. They're pulling it for us. So, the Russia hoax proves more than ever that we need to finish exactly what we came here to do. Drain the swamp. The Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous partisan investigations, or whether they will apologize to the American people and join us to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, bring down the cost of health care and prescription drugs, which we're doing incredibly, help us fix our broken trade deals, which are coming along really well. We have our team right now in China. They just arrived. China. We've gone up, they've gone down, but we want them to be healthy. We want them to be happy and healthy. China. And by the way, we are building that wall as you. We are building that wall. We are building that wall.